So, I was about to ask you, what year did you think this came out? Not came out, but it was set in.
Well,
it clearly said 1953.
Yeah.
Give you a perspective on that. 1953 was also the year that in particularly January 19, 71.1% of all television sets were set in the United States turned into I, Lucy to watch Lucy give birth to little Ricky. It was also the year, January 20th, where Dwight D. Eisenhower was sworn as the 34th President of the United States. It was the year also that Walt Disney feature film Peter Pan was released.
Wow.
It was the year of the Nordic Council. The transsexual Christian Jorgensen returns to New York after successful sex reassignment surgery in Denmark. It was the year that... Wow. Another one. The first nuclear test of Operation Upshot Knothole was conducted in Nevada. It was... there was a lot of things that were happening in 1953, and a lot of really cool stuff. I mean, we had, also, the ending of the Korean War, we had Elvis, we had rock and roll here,
wow. And
it's kind of amazing to see, what was happening on the other end of the Iron Curtain. Yeah,
that's crazy. Just, it feels like it would be so much earlier than it is. Like, this is something that, you thought kind of ended like a couple of decades prior, but yeah, it just kept on going crazier and crazier, cooped up in there, huh?
Yeah, and you know what? I really have to really give it to the actors who, and actress, who portrayed these people in here. It was...
Was that letter literally what killed them?
I think it was... Okay, so...
There's no way of knowing for sure, but was that letter actually present?
So the problem is...
Yeah.
Nobody actually really knows exactly how Stalin died.
Mm-hmm.
There is very little evidence, and a lot of the evidence there is very contradicting to each other.
Yeah.
So, as you would expect.
Yeah.
But, this is something that, this was based off of a French graphic novel of the same name, this film, they actually did a lot of work in there to, try to figure out as much and best as we can, exactly how, the Man of Steel died. Yeah. But we do know, there was a doctor's plot that, took out pretty much all the best doctors in Moscow at the time. We do know that when he died, he gave explicit orders to, his guards not to disturb him for anything. And they were so terrified of him when they heard him thump on the floor, nobody came to check on him for 8 hours after he had a stroke. We do know a lot of these things. We do know... and as history plays out, we talk about Nikita Khrushchev, we don't talk about Malenkov, we certainly don't talk about Beria, and Beria being the sick, perverted asshole that he is. Yeah. I mean, he definitely used his position of power to, sexually take advantage of a lot of people, he was definitely, he used it to really become a super sexual predator. And, he was just a jackass all the way through. Like I said, a fucking ball sack and a waistcoat.
Yeah.
It's really disturbing too, to me, is I know that there's a picture out there with Beria, and he's got Svetlana sitting on his lap. And that's just creeps me the fuck out. And he's just horrible. There.
Oh.
And like I said before, with these, executions and stuff like that, there's a series of pictures too with Stalin. when Stalin didn't like you, he just removed you. No, he didn't just kill you. He just removed you. No one knew what happened to you. He would remove you, and then they would clear out your name and your history from the public records. And every picture that you were with, with him in it, they would have artists go in there and just write you out. So they would effectively just erase you.
Sheesh. Reality became malleable.
It was incredible. Stalin's rise to power too. Like after Lenin died, Lenin even warned everybody about Stalin's rise to power. You had Stalin, Stalin Trotsky, and how Stalin, went after Trotsky and got Trotsky denounced and then exiled from Russia, and then finally had him assassinated outside of Mexico City. He was a brutal, brutal man. How he treated his first son too, and I think I discussed that within the film as well.
Yeah.
Where he balked at the German idea of trading a corporal for a field marshal, and then essentially signed the death sentence for his own son in a concentration camp.
Do you think maybe he just didn't want any of his kids?
He really honestly, I don't know there's much about his first wife, but his first, Yakov, I think was his name, was the son. But I think it was a disappointment, and he just wouldn't bend to pressure from there, and it'd be just humiliating in general. His second wife, he abused and drove to suicide. I mean, Stalin was, the prime asshole of, the century. No joke. I think there was another thing I was going to talk about, too. But, I think he also, at the end of the war, he equated nuclear war with the United States and how much the Soviet Union could take, and he equated one nuclear bomb as being one half German invasion, and then he could take 11 or something like that. He was a character.
Wow.
Another thing I want to talk about too was towards the end of the film when the Red Army came in and took shit away from the NKVD. You think the NKVD is pretty much just the secret police, right?
I barely know anything about them.
Okay, so the NKVD was really same thing with the KGB. It was the interior police force and security force, something like that. But what they did also, their role was much more expanded. They did, the Central Intelligence Agency, NSA and stuff like that, FBI kind of thing. But they also were pretty much, your local police force, and they were also your local firefighting force. And stuff like that. Yeah. It was pretty much all that.
Wow.
So Beria's power really was that great because he controlled pretty much the security forces with pretty much everything.
Wow. Just grabbing more power as things went on, huh?
Pretty much. And, you being there and, having everything, everything there. I think, I thought it was really interesting the stuff they did. I would say that, I don't know about the apartments or stuff like that, but, the housing there, it was, it's not that great and stuff like that. And you still go to Russia and they have these, their apartment buildings, it was really much more built under Khrushchev. They call it Khrushchev-Kayas, stuff like that. Because, they're Khrushchev, these block fucking monstrous looking things. And they're just shitty apartments. But yeah, just the death of Stalin, this shit that happened, the internal shit that happens in the Soviet Union, it was just crazy.
Yeah, wow. Well, anyway, as far as the movie goes, I thought everyone did an incredible job. I definitely felt that they played their characters pretty well. I didn't think of them as their actors. We've seen them in other things and all. The film work was incredible. I mean, the angles were spot on, definitely to give you the feel of what was going on. And I thought it was good.
Good too, man. I mean, no, I don't think I have anything bad to say about this film. I really don't. I can't think of a single thing. It's like, I really enjoy this film. I really enjoyed watching it. I really enjoyed sharing it with you.
Wow, yeah. It just gives you a great looking comedic tone, yes.
Yeah, but it's comedic in like a kind of sick and weird way because this affected millions of people.
Yeah.
And this has affected the lives of a lot of people, even to this day.
It's kind of like...
It's this political drama, but it's like, kind of takes like a lighthearted take to it, but at the same time, it's just like,
it kind of
shit happened.
Kind of reminds me of someone with a nuclear bomb briefcase, you know, the hit the button to send the nukes, accidentally dropping it while it's open, and they're juggling it around trying to keep it from landing on the floor.
I think there's a lot of good things to say about this, and you know what? I think I'm gonna ask you who's your favorite in this movie?
Oh, jeez.
I mean, Nikita Khrushchev was pretty good, but for me, I'm gonna have to say Jason Isaacs' Zukov was like my favorite.
I don't know. I think the as far as acting goes,
or just character in general.
Molotov.
Yeah,
Molotov.
You know what? I'm not gonna fault you, man. You know, Michael Palin's, fucking spot on, dude. Like Monty Python and stuff. Yeah. But no, I'm gonna have to be a firm Zukov fan myself. Like, they brought him in late in the movie, but I mean, he was a fucking force when he came in. It was awesome.
Wow.
I mean,
all right. Well,
no, it's a good film all the way, and I'm glad that we freaking watched it together, man. You know, and between us, it's good.
Good. All right.
Have a good one.
Good night.